Hello everyone, welcome back to Total Football Talk, and we're going to look at all the latest news, transfer news coming out surrounding Manchester United. And yep, there's plenty, and there's some interesting news coming out, and I want to get your thoughts. I want to get your understanding. Do you believe what we're about to talk about? There's news about Jadon Sancho's move to Juventus, which apparently is on the cusp of happening, but there's very little from our big hitters in terms of David Ornstein and Fabrizio Romano talking about it. There's Di Matteo is talking about a potential move for Rashford, so we'll look into who he may be looking to go to or who's taking an interest in him. We'll also look at the latest on the Bryan Mbeumo deal between Manchester United and Brentford, and this deal is one that seems to be up in the air and it is just a shambles. And there's also news coming out about another player from Brentford that's potentially being looked at that could cause us even further problems. So Bryan Mbeumo, is he getting on the plane? Is he going in that pre-season? He's definitely not going to be there for the first one on Saturday in Sweden when we play Leeds. But then we'll delve into the final few bits of news that we have, and that's on Diego Leon and a few other players in regards to the youth setup and where they could potentially fit in or not fit in throughout the season as we progress into the start of the new season. Say season again. Okay, thank you very much for joining me, guys. If you're enjoying the content, please hit the old like button. If you could hit the subscription button and get your comments in, that'll allow you to do that. That would be absolutely brilliant. Thank you very much. Okay, let's dive in with the news. And this is your kind of 10-minute roundup with myself. According to Di Matteo, Juventus have inquired about a potential deal with Marcus Rashford. Now, Di Matteo has had his ups and downs in terms of being very reliable with transfers. He was very reliable a couple of seasons ago, and prior to that, he was very reliable whenever we were doing the deals with Paul Pogba and Mkhitaryan, etc. He knows quite a bit on the Italian side, and that's obviously where he's based. So is there any is there any truth in the Marcus Rashford to Juventus links? Now, we all know that Marcus Rashford is desperate for Barcelona. We also know that Barcelona are not desperate on him, because if he was, the deal would be underway, and it's not. We know that Barcelona are keen on Luis Diaz from Liverpool, and they're still knocking on that door, and I think until they get until that's completely shut down, I don't think Marcus Rashford has got a look in with Barcelona. I also believe that Bayern Munich are looking for a winger, and Marcus Rashford may be on their list, but he's certainly not top of it. So the links to Marcus Rashford with Juventus, for me, I just don't know how this all fits. Yes, maybe they're going to get rid of their striker Dudan Vlahovic, and if he goes, and there's talk about him being jettisoned from his contract, there's talk about him being swap deal with Manchester United, all kinds of stuff going on with Vlahovic. He's a striker who has a checkered history when it comes to his injury record. He's only 25. He's a very, very good striker, but I don't know if we need someone like that coming in and sitting on the sub bench, or the treatment bench, with Luke Shaw. Marcus Rashford, is he going to play as a 9 with Juventus? Would they really consider it? Can they actually afford his wages? Could they actually afford a transfer fee? They've just signed the little winger Conceição, and they're apparently still about to, and we'll get onto it in a minute, do a deal with Jadon Sancho. Would the two freedom fighters work well together? Maybe they would. Maybe they could go to Juventus and work well together. I just don't know if there's any truth in this. I'd love there to be. I'd love Marcus Rashford to have another option beyond the Barcelona one, and that's the one that he's desperate for. But as I said, that is the one that he really wants. But I don't think they want him because they're looking elsewhere. He's maybe on a list, but he's certainly well down that list at the minute. So, and I mean, Barcelona, again, we've talked about it, levers and money and registration, and how do they make it all work? I don't know. But that's the news that we have on on Marcus Rashford. Now, leading into Jadon Sancho with the same club, Manchester United and Juventus aim to finalise Jadon Sancho's transfer within the next 24 hours, and that was coming from Alfredo Padula. Now, Mr. Padula has been pretty decent with his track record, but again, I'm not sure about this. 24 hours, that was 11 hours ago last night. So we're talking in the next, 12 hours. Is this deal going to get done? Is it going to get sorted today? I would love it to be the case. If we get 15 million euro and the 5 million that we got from his cancellation fee from Chelsea, it's not ideal, but it would be very, very useful. at this particular juncture, especially to get his wages off the books, which would help us out with FFP and PSR. But I don't know. Can I see this happening today? No. Can I see this dragging out? Yes. Can I see this actually happening 50-50? I don't know. There's a lot of talk, but I'm not entirely sure whether Jadon Sancho is still, despite all the reports coming out, I still don't know if he's going to go for it. I still don't know whether he's going to drop his wages. I still don't know whether Juventus will be able to kind of match the figure that Manchester United are looking for, even though our figures probably dropped quite substantially. Well, obviously we paid 75 million ish for him. 15 million. I'd take it now just to get him off the books, but yeah, it also shows that we are weak in negotiation. So I don't think it helps us with selling players down the line. So it's kind of you maybe gain on one hand and you lose on the other. It's bloody frustrating. But as I said, what do you guys think out there? Do you think Jadon Sancho will go to Juventus? Do you think that'd be a good move for him? Do you think Marcus Rashford would go to Juventus? Do you think he would have it in them to agree that deal and go to the Italian league and rip it up, maybe like Scott McTominay? I'd be fascinated to see where this one goes. But get your thoughts in below. Let me know what you good people think. Do you think Marcus Rashford will go to Juventus? Now, this is the news that was coming out in regards to Bryan Mbeumo, and that's Brentford have apparently upped their asking price from 65 million to 70 million, and Manchester United do not want to pay more than 65 million. Now, this is coming from the Guardian. I think it was Jamie Jackson has been talking about this quite heavily. He's the one who broke the story last night. I mean, maybe Brentford have moved the goalposts, and if that is the case, Manchester United. But Manchester United, for me, the 62.5 million or whatever it is we've actually apparently offered. I don't know if it's true, because if it is 55 million and the rest are on add-ons, then they're not getting their 65 million. They maybe want 65 million and 5 million in add-ons. Can we make that work? I don't know. Are we going to, do this deal? There's also talk this morning of Newcastle potentially looking at Wisa because they're going to pull out of the Ekitike deal. And if that is the case, that Newcastle will get that deal done in a couple of weeks, and Brentford won't allow Bryan Mbeumo to go. Or if they do, the price will be 70 million plus. It's like whenever we tried to buy Anthony from Ajax had sold all their players, and by the time we got in to do the deal, they just asked for what they wanted, and we had to pay it because apparently we wanted him that bad that we just give them whatever they wanted. And I don't think any of us are going to do this, but they're so heavily involved with this deal now. Are they prepared to walk away? Are we prepared to see Bryan Mbeumo ripping it up for another team when we can be looking at that going, that should have been for us? I just don't know what they're doing. I don't know what they're trying to achieve with this deal. They're taking forever to make it happen. It's what are we, week 7? It's definitely week 6, potentially heading to week 7 now of this particular shambles. And regardless of whatever way you look at it now, United have failed. Whether they pay the asking price, they fail. Even if they save some money, they fail because they've not got him in for pre-season. If he doesn't actually make that plane for the tour in America, fail all round. They've failed, and yet maybe they are desperate to not look stupid in the transfer window, but they're being unfortunately made look stupid regardless. And that's on them. And I think we are just living in a shit show, and it ain't getting any better anytime soon. But moving into the youth, there's little bits of sort of interesting news coming out, and that's Diego Leon will stay with Manchester United this season as he acclimatizes to English football. It's yet to be decided whether he will be the first team or under 21s. And I think with this, he's obviously going to potentially get a chance when we go on this initial tour trip to Sweden. Maybe he'll get some game time against Leeds. I hope he does. He's a highly rated prospect. He's got a lot to learn defensively, but going forward, he looks like there's a lot in him. He is technically a left back, so he's going to have to learn a new role. He's going to have to learn a new language. He's going to have to learn a new culture. His kid's got a lot to learn before he settles into Manchester United. So I think he needs time. He needs to be embedded in slowly, and having Dorgu in front of him will allow that, because it means the shirt won't weigh heavy, because he won't be expected to pull off performance after performance straight away. So we can hopefully bed him in slowly and securely, and hopefully he can make his mark over the season, whether that be in the under 21s. Maybe he will graduate up, or maybe he'll just go straight into the first team and just be a rotational player, maybe alongside Amas and Dorgu, and we've got plenty of cover for that left side. As I said, he's got plenty to learn, but I'm pleased with that. But we can't put too much pressure on him. Sekakoni is another one who is now, his level is currently being assessed before a decision is made on whether he is ready to contribute more often at first team level. A loan or another season spent predominantly with the under 21s are also being sort of, or potential options. This kid has a lot of potential to play in that sort of eight role. He is young. He's got, again, like Diego Leon. He has to understand the culture, but he's already had some time in the under 21s last season. He did get injured early doors, but when he came back in the team, he was very, very impressive. He looked very good, and there's a lot of hope for this young kid. So again, look, this excites me, but only in the respect that he is a young kid coming through. Not that he's going to be a savior and he's going to be the one that's going to drag us out of the mire, because that's not fair on the kid to for that to be the case. And then this was the final story, and this was sort of loans for Toby Collier, Harry Amos, and Tyler Fletcher cannot be ruled out, and they are dependent on how many minutes they are expected to play for Manchester United in the upcoming season. So again, more on the youth, more, Toby Collier is a midfielder who has unfortunately missed opportunities because he got injured. Whenever we definitely needed or when we needed midfielders. So I've got a feeling Toby Collier could potentially go on a loan, or he could be sold. Unfortunately, he'll probably be sold quite cheaply because we can't make money on our young players. But he may go. Harry Amos did impress when he came into the first team last year, so we'll see how he goes. And Tyler Frederickson, again, also impressed, but maybe those two need a loan would be more beneficial for them because we don't have European football, and their game time will be hampered unless we get a lot of injuries. So if all three of them are out on loan, I'd be happy. Maybe one of them will be sold. I think Toby Collier is the most likely to be sold of the trio. But yeah, so that's where we are with all the news at the minute, guys. Please get your thoughts in. What would you like to see, especially when it comes to the senior players? But Diego Leon, would you like to see him play more game time in the first team squad? Sakakoni, have you seen enough of him to believe that he's the answer to help our midfield crisis? Or do you think Toby Collier or Harry Amos or Fredrickson can maybe be sold on and maybe make some money? There was reports yesterday that the sort of players, the younger players, are going to be moved on. Maybe these three are part of that to be moved on category. I think all three of them are very good prospects. I think they've all got big futures. But whether that's with Manchester United or not, I do not know. Okay, guys, thanks very much for joining me. I'm Keith, the host of this little channel. If you've enjoyed the content, please hit the thumbs up. Please hit the old subscription, get your thoughts in below. And if you've stuck to the end, you're a legend. Thank you very much. And I shall see you tomorrow with whatever news happens.